Computer. Lights. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Monday. Let's turn this the right way. There we go. Sorry about the delay. We are at the end of the school year, and I can tell because we have all kinds of stuff going on. So, as I was saying in the header here, we normally on Monday we do springs, but I've got a deadline tomorrow, and I've been working with Character Animator for the whole week. And so I'm trying to get all of the assets done for this, and there's a lot of little bits and pieces on this one. So I figured today I'd go on ahead and do all the assets for Character Animator so that we can load all those in and get those done. And it would also give me sort of a thing to do. So today we're working on client work. So we're going to be working to do the character animation part of Character Animator. So that's what we're going to do. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and first find my mouse, switch to the monitor. We have two different versions of this puppet that we need to make. We need to make a side view of the puppet. We need to make a forward view of the puppet. So this is going to be saved as, I can't ever read anything when it's on this screen, so move it over here. We will put it into Bork. Let's not hit this thing. We'll put it into, we can actually push this back a little like so. I wonder if we should put it here. I wonder if that'd be better. No, it's definitely in my face. Up is good. Up is fine. That worked. You can still hear me. We're going to put it in. Because I've got a work file for it. Let's go on ahead and go in here. And we will add it to our already rather this is going to be side view girl, because we've already done sort of the work with this character. So what we're going to do is we're going to open on this same token here, open the animation postcards, because what we're doing is we're actually activating sort of the existing characters. All right, take a look at this. So this is the character we're going to be doing today. Probably this one's better. We're sort of going to try to recreate this sequence here. We need two of her and one of him is what we're going to need. So here she is, probably not her world's best on that, although we could probably just use these two frames and start there. My question really is, do we have that in a PSD? Because that could save us a lot of time, space, money. I see 4 has a PSD, but I'm not seeing 1 having a PSD, which is kind of sad. So 6, 5, 4. Yeah, We don't have it. So our best bet is to recreate from here. So we're going to take her and just take her right out of here. Copy. Put her in here. Right. And this is what they call the through character, which means that we're going to start here, start breaking her up and sort of making her work here on this. This allows us to do all the things we'll need to do with her. Like we'll have to resize this puppet just a little bit so that she's here. We'll center her, obviously. And then we'll go on ahead and we need to do some fixes to her. So I'm going to take my crow quill, because one of the things we're going to have to do is like extend up her hair like so. And I go through there and clean that up. And then we'll extend her body like so. So she's all the way back like that. And then I'm going to end up ultimately separating her arm, because we're going to have to move her arm. So we're going to have a couple of different movements for her arm. But the big thing we're going to do today is remove things like this line right here on both sides. We're going to remove the table. And we'll go back through here and fill this with white in a minute. The big thing is we'll also remove her husband at this point. Make sure that line is removed there, 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 and just clear out this guy. I'm going to isolate her so that we can get sort of a clean run on this. And we are essentially doing the exact same thing we just did with this, except that we're going to work on a different set. So I went ahead and select all this white and delete it. Select all this white and delete it. Guess what? Delete. Same here. Delete. There. Delete. The next thing we're going to do is uncomfortably dismember her, which is going to be very uncomfortable, but it's a thing we got to do. All right. Now that we have sort of the base character and what she's going to look like, we're going to, well, first let's fill a couple of things. First, for instance, I'm going to take this technical pen, and I sort of was in an artistic mood the last time I drew her, and I drew her with sort of, actually I think the reason why we don't have masters on this is because this looks like actual pen from paper, which means that I drew this first initial drawing on paper. This kind of explains a little bit of the roughness around the edges of this particular picture and why it's kind of rough here. Like she's got kind of Popeye hands going for her and stuff. So I'm just gonna level this out. I think I was trying to be creative, probably was what I was after. But that's all right. We'll come back in here, fill out all of that, so that's all there, and that right there. Yeah, I think so the first three don't have PSDs, which I think you're right. I think it's been a year and a half now since I drew these comics, so I don't remember what I did. You want to join me? You want to join me, Pepper? You want to join me? Let me get you a link. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hang on, Pepper. It takes me a second to load Facebook, and I don't know what the story is. Good to see you, Ghost Hand, this morning. By the way, hope you have your coffee with you. Not the world's best for your teeth, but still. World's better than soda. Especially since I don't drink coffee with sugar anymore. Okay. Link up. Let me see. You know, Pepper, I'm just going to say, I don't think that link's changed. So I think you could have clicked on last week's link or the week before or the week before that or the week before that. I think that link's the same. I'm just saying. I gave you a link anyway, but I don't think we need it. Ooh. Oh, that sounds good. Ghost Hand's having onion steak and rice and a fried egg. That just sounds really tasty. It is kind of weird. Time zones are really strange. You look like you're... Where are you, Pepper?
I'm in my stress mode, need to get a project done mode, so I'm on the floor.
This is what you do when you stress out? You get on the floor?
Yeah, when I get onto a project and I'm super stressed out, I get onto the floor like a little kid because that's... I don't know. It works.
That's all right. You know what? If it works, it works. You can join me because I'm on deadline and this thing is taking longer than I expected it to. So I'm kind of stressed out too. So that's all right. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am doing animation this week and I am going to animate this, this lady. She was the character that we had in the comic strips last year, which we were doing those real estate comic strips.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Ghost Hand says that he lays on the floor too to help relax. Yeah, nowadays, as I get older and older, what I find laying on the floor is good for is to pop my back. Because after sitting so long, my back will compress. And when I lay down, it'll stretch out again, and all of my vertebrae, especially my lower vertebrae, will pop. It's like, I'm like, so I was having this discussion. What?
That's what happens when you lay down on the floor? Because in order for me to pop vertebrae and stuff like that, I just have to bend over.
Right. Okay, no. So I have learned a trick. So you lay on the floor in front of like your couch or whatever and put your legs up on the couch, just your calves, your feet. Put your feet up on the couch. So you look like you're sitting, but sitting, you know, like sideways.
Yeah.
And then just sit there and breathe and relax. And at some point, it takes like 10 minutes for me, but at some point you'll relax enough that your lower back will flatten out. And when it does, all of those vertebrae will pop. And it's so nice.
I mean, the only time that's really happened
hours of bus.
Yeah, the only time that's really has had 12-hour bus ride.
Right.
I do not envy you.
See, that's the thing, though. That's another one of those really interesting differences between our countries. Because I kind of liked it when I was in Japan. Taking trains and buses everywhere was kind of nice. You know, driving is kind of stressful. So it's kind of one of those things. That said, 12 hours of it is a little rough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. Like, I used buses when I was in Miami.
Yeah, buses here just aren't as good.
Well, no, buses in Miami, they came every 15 minutes. I mean, it wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I never went more than, like, an hour by bus anywhere.
Right.
And they also had the People Mover, which is essentially the same thing as like a monorail that went right around the city.
Right.
And that was free. So
Yep. That's the other thing is, the...
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do agree. Sometimes it can be really cramped on like any type of transportation that's open to the public. So even here, I don't think that's changed. I think that's worldwide. Is that
This is what happens everywhere in the world.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I went like at the time I was going to an international college, so you have to understand. Like, I had a lot of point of references of where people came from, and a lot of people said the same thing. It was always cramped in their country.
So yeah. So you're applying for the federal police test? That seems interesting.
Good luck.
Yeah. That sounds cool. I mean, I don't know if it is or is not. Why didn't you do what I asked you to do? Why did you do this? Why? I didn't ask you to do that. I probably did ask it to do that and it just didn't do it right. I don't know. I just work here. I just work here. All right. So did you hear what I was saying before about the link?
No, because if I have your stream going when I try to enter, like my iPad does some weird things, so I tend to like turn it off after I've asked. Why? What's up?
Oh, I was just observing the link. I don't think has changed.
I noticed that too. Like it's almost the same extension. Like it goes to the same place every single time.
So that might be like a permalink to some degree. You might be able to just click in anytime.
I'll experiment that with tomorrow.
Yeah. Being a scribe.
Oh.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, if you're already trained as a dentist, I'm talking, of course, to Ghost Hand. It seemed like, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this all works. I never understand these things. I don't think she's going to move this hand.
Never thought about that, Ghost Hand.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Well, we wish you the best of luck on that.
Yeah, I hope you do get what you're going for, because I mean, that actually sounds more interesting than a regular dentist.
Yeah. Okay, really? I'm like making this difficult for myself. I don't know why I'm making this harder for myself. There we go.
You sound like me this morning.
Right? What are we up to this morning? We can't even get our work done correctly. Anyway, there we go. All right. I'm always wondering, Ghost Hand, do you find it useful to have English as a skill? Is that used a lot in your area? And I say that out of genuine language curiosity. I don't know if you caught on, but I was a teacher in Japan. And when you're a teacher, like U.S. military spends a lot of time in a lot of places. And my sister was in the military, and we talked about the differences between being stationed in Japan and working in Japan. And working in Japan is very much a thing where you had to learn the language, because I was in the middle of nowhere. I was in Ibaraki Prefecture, which is out in the middle of nowhere, and nobody spoke. I mean, the English they spoke was broken at best. So, I had to learn Japanese, which I wanted to anyway. It was part of the reason I went over there, was because I wanted to kind of break out of sort of we kind of Americans get very myopic. We can't see past the U.S. And so, especially when we travel abroad, we have this horrible tendency of making everybody else speak our language. And so I always wanted to learn another language, break that mold, get out there, live in another country where it was important to do that, to speak their language. So I always wonder whether, how far out. I get that we tend to say that English is our de facto business language. And I hear that too. But my question really is, if you're in a municipal, like a small town, is it useful to speak English? Or is that a rare skill that not many people have? This looks really weird. These are my questions that I always have. I always think these things. I love talking to people who are international, because it's fascinating what other countries do. I love that. I don't know why people aren't more interested in that. It really bothers me. Last night I was having a discussion with my sister, and we were talking about the Democratic Party in Japan and why vaccines are going so slow in Japan right now and things like that. And I am super embedded in Japanese politics. So, because it's my second home country.
Yeah.
It's after here, it's my home country. And so I keep very tight tabs on what's going on in Japan. And they are not happy over there. Nurses are threatening to quit. Medical personnel are threatening to quit. It's brutal.
Is it dealing with
They're
COVID
mad.
or? Sorry, I haven't really been watching news. Is it dealing with COVID or?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've got laws that prevent them from moving medicines into Japan without a long time frame of experimenting on it. Even if the other country has tested it, they must test it before they field it, which means that even the Pfizer vaccine is being slow-tracked, so to speak. And of course, people are still dying, and it's making the Japanese people very mad because they feel like the country is wasting time.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I mean, it kind of goes back to when I heard at one point that certain government officials want to make sure that it was made correctly or good, type deal.
Oh, I can see that.
It's again, it has to deal with like the honorability of the creation of what's going in people's bodies. I guess that's
maybe
roughly on how it was explained to me. But I could be wrong because I never lived there. You did.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, they're just not fast tracking the vaccine, which they're mad because naturally we fast track the vaccine. So they want to know why they won't fast track it. And, it's
Because we're
a
dirty
conservative
Americans.
party in charge over there. And conservatives, being conservative, are concerned about, the reliability and things like that.
Well, it was kind of like this weekend I went to Costco with Bill, and Costco updated their policy. So if you're vaccinated, you can enter in. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Gosan's thing. The comment.
So
yeah, but anyways, Costco doesn't allows you, if you're vaccinated, to go in without your mask on.
Oh. Do they check?
No, it's the honor system. The honor
Which,
system.
means the people who don't want to do any of that stuff are saying, yeah, we're vaccinated.
Yeah, pretty much. But King Soopers, where I got my vaccine at, also has the same policy. So they actually have record of me entering and getting the vaccines. So.
Sure. I'm curious. To an interesting point to Ghost Hand, for some reason, and this is one of those weird things, and this is something I've actually really been fascinated by for years about strangeness and cultures. There are a lot of Brazilians in Japan, and they are treated by the Japanese culture in sort of the same way that we treat Mexicans here. They're sort of the blame all. If anything goes wrong, they blame the Brazilians. And I found that disturbing, but also interesting. I mean, it's always somebody, and it never seems to make any sense as to why. I mean, there is a why. Obviously, there are a lot of people I've noticed in Peru. There is some kind of South America to Japan transmission going on. It seems like the Peruvian president, I think, has a Japanese last name. I mean, fascinatingly enough. And so there's clearly back and forth going on, but there are a lot of Brazilians in Japan, which, by the way, Brazilian barbecue is awesome. But again, I've had Brazilian barbecue in Japan, which is one of those moments. Which is another thing. If I ever come visit you, Ghost Hand, I totally want good barbecue, man. We're just looking for good barbecue. I travel the world in my stomach. I'm just saying. That's the best part about traveling the world.
To answer your comment that you just made about the Peru connection to Japan, there was a group of people discovered, I believe, in Peru or somewhere in South America. I think it's Peru. Peru's on the coast, I think. I'm trying to geography.
You're not
Anyway,
you're not making us look good over here.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. I know my geography.
You need a South American map?
Yeah, South American map. Anyway, so a large enough group of people.
And it's on the Pacific side. Whereas Brazil's on the Atlantic side. So
yeah, but a large enough. I know Peru's on the Atlantic side. I do know that.
No, Peru's on the Pacific side.
Oh. Yeah. Stop making comments. You're making me confused.
I know. I'm just messing you up.
This is dyed hair.
I'm totally messing you up.
Younger, it was blonde. Okay.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. All right. So there was a group of people that there was a group of people that actually landed on basically after a tidal wave. They thought Japan was wiped out. The theory is they thought Japan was wiped out, and they were already out in the ocean. So they just kept going and riding the wave that was pushing them from Japan, and they ended up in South America.
And Ghost Hand's talking about this in exactly the same point. There, after World War II, not only that, during World War II, there was a lot of horse trading with people. And it's actually one of those parts of history that nobody really knows about unless you're embedded with the Japanese culture. Then you hear about it. But
Ghost Hand mentioned that it was Brazil, not Peru.
It's both.
Yeah.
Peru got it too. So there was horse trading between countries. So what Ghost Hand's talking about is sort of an exodus that occurred. What also happened was a weird sort of horse trading. The various countries would trade Japanese people back to Japan, but they would trade the wrong people. Like we were trading what we call Nisei or Sansei, which are second generation or third generation Americans, and we were trading them to the Japanese. So we were sending people who looked Japanese and had names like Takaguchi or Nishikawa and stuff like that, but they were really Americans and did not speak any Japanese and had no Japanese culture. We were trading them back to Japan. When they'd go back to Japan, then right after the war was over, they wanted to repatriate, right? Because they were like, we're not Japanese, and it's hard for us to integrate here, and people aren't treating us nicely anyway. So we'd like to go back. Well, some countries like America wouldn't take them back. And so they ended up going to other countries. And we ended up with these weird exoduses of people, especially Japanese, moving around, and they all went to South America. So there's a lot of South American Japanese, like he's talking about in Sao Paulo, where there's a big exodus that went there. There's a big exodus in Peru. It's kind of strange. I don't think there's much of an exodus that went to other places like Chile or, Portugal or, some of the other places in South America. It seems like it was mostly Brazil and Peru. So now there's this sort of back and forth going on, especially between Brazil. My prefecture had like an entire Brazilian community that was, and it, because it's backwater, Nowheresville, Japan, and they had this huge Brazilian community. They were great guys. I like those guys a lot. They were fun. And, when you're dealing with cultures and different cultures, Brazilians are more like Americans, more outgoing, more, and so whereas the Japanese are more like British, they're more reserved and they're more, and so it was sometimes it was really refreshing going to the Brazilian communities because, not only that, good barbecue. Like I said, I travel the world in my stomach. So.
To answer to kind of respond to that, since my family was coming from Eastern European countries, large swaths of Eastern European and German people who fled after World War II and even before World War II ended, the United States actually stopped them from coming into the actual country.
Yep.
So that's why you have populations that created like European blocks or little Eastern Europe type deal in like Mexico and Canada and stuff, because they basically block the borders from them coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So America has had a very big prone to do this move, especially when they've gotten involved in world politics.
Yeah.
So,
Ghost Hand, that sounds like a really fascinating family story, though. I mean, that really does sound cool. But that's the other thing. The Americas, though both North and South America were involved in World War II,
oh, cool.
We weren't the battlegrounds.
Right.
And same with Australia. We weren't the battlegrounds. I mean, the big battlegrounds happened in Africa and Middle Europe and Northern Europe and, of course, all of Japan and China and Korea. Those were the battlegrounds. So there were a lot of people who were like, you know what? We just went out of the war. Can we leave? And so there was a lot of flood to the Americas and to Australia because obviously we weren't that involved. But a lot of people tried to avoid the U.S. because we were, who knew? The Germans might try to bomb us at any time.
Well, it was a combination of things. Of we came into the World War II like later than everyone else, and basically we were kind of forced into it.
I love your state already. I'm totally just gonna live there. I'm into this state.
Oh.
It's like half of it's stereotypical Italian and half of it's stereotypical Japanese. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be happy there. And think of all the good food.
Honestly, Guy, I think it would be your heaven.
It would be awesome. So if I exit us out of here, man, you'll find me in Ghost Hand's living room. That's where you're gonna find me.
I know where to have your wife look first. That's
right.
What it is. I mean,
but there's noodle shops here. I can get ramen. That's important. This is an important thing. I think that's awesome. So here's the thing about animation. Getting back to topic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. Yeah, show me all the great restaurants. And the coffee fields. The coffee fields sound cool. And the awesome, like, temples and things like that. There's a lot of stuff to see. So I'm going through and really cleaning up this character because in a comic strip, I've only got eyes on her for, I don't know, a second, just long enough for them to read what's going on. And then I get my text bubble, which then they'll look at her and then their eyes go up to the text bubble. They'll read the text bubble, then they move to the next bubble. In an animation, this picture is going to be on screen for many, many seconds. So I want to make sure that it's clear and looks nice and everything like that. We're about to also decapitate her, sadly, because we're going to have to move her head. So she's going to look up. The animation has her looking up. Ooh, it sounds so good. Oh, various cuts of beef, sausage, and chicken with some cold beer. This sounds great already. I'm all on board.
Well, it sounds like a breakfast of champions, man.
Right? Oh, man, that sounds so good. I gained like 3 kilos I gained 3 kilos just reading that passage. Like, wow, that's so good. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That does sound good.
Well, there are two types of people in the world. There are the people who love traveling, and then there are the people who don't. And I'm okay with people who don't, and part of it is I started out really early on in my life being absolutely fascinated with aircraft. And so I have zero fear of flying, so that is extremely useful. Because I don't mind getting on a plane for 15 or 20 hours. That doesn't bother me. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like it's the best thing that's ever happened. But I don't fear flying. And
I'm kind of right there with you.
You're kind of what?
I'm right there with you with the plane rides. I had started doing planes like when I was like 2 or 3 years old. So I don't mind plane travel at all, is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, I'm sure that in COVID time, Ghost Hand's talking about the big gatherings with lots of the traditional food. Doesn't happen much right now, naturally, because it's COVID, and nobody, they're protecting the elderly. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this and make it about like this. I'll go through here because I want to make the pivot point and see where that pivot point is because I'll need it later. So we want to make sure that her neck goes into her head properly. Look at that neck. This is such a cartoon. Oh my goodness.
When I first popped on, I really thought that you were like experimenting again with the style of Bellatrix Rising.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're changing the style once again?
You were about to give me whatnot for it because you were about to say, don't screw with it. Just do your job. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Okay.
No.
What I have done here is now put a pivot point on her head so that I know where to pivot that head when it looks up, which, looks very creepy at the moment, but that's all right. We'll get there. All right.
It's like I had to turn something on because I needed some sort of noise last night when I was working. And so I just went to Disney Plus and I turned on like Halloween Town. There's a line in it where someone basically takes muffins to the headless shelter. And she forgot. They can't eat the muffins. They have no heads.
This is a Disney thing?
Yes!
I don't know what to say about that. See you in a sec.
See you in a second. Yeah, it's a Disney movie from 1998.
Okay. All right, so now her head is mobile. The next thing we're going to do is disassemble her head.
I'm just over here drawing a kidnapping scene. That's all.
Well, if that's all. You've been posting some interesting artwork, though, recently.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get this stuff done for the contest.
Yep. Exactly why I didn't actually sign up, though.
Well, it's a tight deadline. I understand why a lot of people elect not to do it.
Yep. I don't need a deadline right now.
You already have one.
Yeah, I've got a number of deadlines, so I was like, I don't know if I can do this. So I opted out. There we go. That's much less yellow. What am I doing here? What color shirt should she wear? She probably should wear green. I think green looks good on her.
Just match it to whatever logo you have to use.
What?
Just match it to whatever logo you have to use.
Good morning, Donald.
Good morning.
Yeah, you're right. I could do that. Or I could just be random and, regret it later because you were right. That seems like the more logical path.
Oh,
naturally.
Okay.
How you feeling this morning, Donald?
I got billed to watch Porco Rosso for the first time.
It could be a punk shirt. Maybe just a Hawaiian shirt. Nah.
Punk
Real
shirt.
estate ads, so I have to be good. I have to play nice. It's a real estate ad.
Is it to entice people to move to Colorado?
Just making sure people do work. Making sure that the real estate agents do real estate. But more importantly, if this works, which I'm pretty sure it will, I will get more business this way.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel you for the crazy drama, my friend. I feel you for that crazy drama.
Is it just side effects of the vaccine?
Oh yeah, your stomach issues. I don't know. Is that side effects of the vaccine, you think, my friend?
I had some like huge stomach issues with mine. That's why I'm only asking.
I went to sleep. I slept for like a day. I turned on Star Trek on Netflix and just let it roll. And I slept through about 6 episodes of first season of TNG. I started of TOS. I started at Balance of Terror and slept through like a ton of episodes. Balance of Terror is one of my favorites, though. Anyway, the long and the short of it is I got great sleep and watched Star Trek, which I know you are all absolutely stunned that I would do that. Yeah. I hear that. All right. Our weird character that doesn't have a head. We just hit the midway point. It's time to turn on the camera. It's time to find for my mouse. Where did my mouse go? Okay, guys. Time to stand up and stretch, except you, Pepper, unless you want to stand up and stretch. Everybody else, stand up, stretch. We need to take care of ourselves and make sure we stand up every hour. I've now set up Alexa to remind me every hour that we need to get up, move around, get the blood flowing. Oh, it's lovely outside. Noticing my pest cat has already gotten into my printer supplies. That's funny. He is a pest.
Did he get into the ink?
No, he got into the masks and gloves.
Cool.
Yeah.
Congrats on the weight loss, Donald.
Oh, yes. See, Donald understands me. Donald understands me. Just saying.
Oh, I'm just I mean, Deep Space Nine, I mean, that's fine. But my husband Bill finished his show that he's been watching while working. When I'm not on this show, he doesn't play it during that because he doesn't want to have your show taken down.
I appreciate that.
And so he's been watching Burn Notice for like a few weeks now, and he goes, "So what television show should I watch next?" And I'm just like, "Oh dear, he's gonna go to where I think he's gonna go." He goes, "Should I watch Murder She Wrote? Should I watch Star Trek? Should I watch?" And I'm just like, "How about you just turn on Golden Girls? You haven't had a Golden Girls like marathon." So that's what he started. It's now Golden Girls. And then I got to thinking, what if there was a Golden Girls Star Trek
Mashup?
like show mashup? You have like 4 admirals living out of one house.
I was going to say, I think that's called Picard.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nah, I say that, but the truth of the matter is that I loved Picard. I didn't have a problem with it. I know there are a lot of Trekkies who did, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah, and
welcome back, Ghost Hand.
Unfortunately, the ending of Burn Notice was written in a time frame where writers were on strike. So, like, I'm just gonna say writers were on strike because if they weren't, though, I agree the ending was horrible. Like, I don't think they should have done that, but it also has basically, like, if anyone ever wants that show to come back, I told Bill, you can't bring it back. You basically would have to revamp the entire show and have brand new characters. And no tied to the original.
So you're saying they burned it?
Yep.
Was it on notice?
I think so.
Okay. I can't help myself on this one.
Oh, I know. I know.
You're like, I'm used to you.
Yeah.
All right.
So, one of the characters I've been drawing, he has naturally a mustache. I drew him with a fake mustache on top of his regular mustache because they have like those fake noses and glass disguises.
Okay.
These are the pirates.
Alrighty. Oh yeah, I mean I'm actually referring to the new Picard series when we talk about that. So,
well, I mean, I like the new Picard series. I didn't like the fact that they made. I didn't like the fact that they have Data disassembled, but then they created Data like basically a family of Datas. That
it's full of Datas.
Yeah, I just part of me just like was like, that's a bit much.
Fair.
You know, and because I don't think, like, based off of my experience of Next Generation and everything, I don't think his son would have willingly did that. There has to be more to that story of why he just automatically all of a sudden started making synthetic humans.
You mean Maddox?
Yeah.
So they actually did kind of go into Maddox's universe a little bit more in the books. So I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, he had a change of heart after a while. But it's clear that he sort of started out by disassembling B4, and it's clear that there was a little bit of a this data is just an object sort of thing going. But then he changed his mind. Clearly,
Yeah.
he changed his demeanor, which I know a lot of people got very upset about that, and I don't know why. I am not the same person I was in 1987 either. I mean, if you'd gone back and yeah, that seems to be where we are these days. Is bombastic and noisy.
Well, that's what made. I mean, the dialogue is what made Next Generation work the best.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, it's a thing. I don't know. It's all right. I'm feeling really good with where we are here on this. We gotta sort of flatten this out without trashing all these other layers, and I've never actually thought about that before. Making all these layers visible is hard, and now I'm going to try to flatten these three. That's what I was afraid of. Yeah, that's right. So we will then work on her face real quick, add 2 new layers. And this one is at 30. And this one is overlay, and this one is multiply. This is my down and dirty quick way of shadowing everything. I thought about that too. One of the most underused characters were Lars and what's her name? The 2 Romulans that were working for Picard on the in the vineyard. I mean, I agree. That would have been cool if they'd spent 3 or 4 episodes just hanging out in the vineyard. What are we doing here? So, Pepper,
Honestly,
Donald's recommending Chuck for the first couple of seasons for Bill.
That would be great, but I want him to get through something that doesn't involve a bunch of bass explosions for a bit.
That's literally what Ghost Hand and I are talking about.
Yeah, like don't get. I know what you guys are talking about, but like I have an auditory response and reflex to sounds, and it's not fun. When I was a kid, at certain times, I would just start crying if something like happened audio wise, and like as an adult, it's really perturbed me at times because like I'm sitting there trying to watch something, and all of a sudden my ear is suddenly like in pain because there's nothing I can do about it. It just gets overwhelmed and overstimulated, and I just don't.
I feel like, well, that's definitely a sensitivity issue. I've got that too.
It's actually from my autism. That it's part of my
I was
autism
gonna say,
diagnosis.
That is definitely spectrumy.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No, it's why I don't like to be startled. You know, that's like
Yeah.
a well-known almost trope on Geek Tank now. That, you know, Troy has to pre-watch movies, tell me whether I'm going to get jump scared or not because I can't stand it. And, you know, it's the same thing. Dad was talking about me, you know, why is it I don't go out and shoot guns? I don't like the noise. You know, he was making fun of me. He was like, you know, doing the, well, you're just, you know, that's your political alignment. And I'm like, it's not. I don't like the noise. So,
I mean, I thought my mom like just didn't like guns for a very long time, but she doesn't like loud noises.
Yep, that's me.
So,
don't like the loud noise. I mean, intellectually, I'm not hot on guns, obviously, but you know, there's a difference between my abrupt dislike for guns and I just don't like loud noises. I just don't. Startling, loud, you know, shocking noises. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And as I grow older, I know I'm going to start doing the Red Fox thing of, oh, my heart, every time.
I'm coming to join you.
I'm joining you.
Especially when you want to guilt trip your kid.
I feel like even though, there we go. Just need to bring that down just a little bit. Okay, you're done lurking, hey, says Colton. He's like, we're doing great, Colton. If you want to join us, and you are more than welcome to do so for the last 45 minutes here, it looks like the link is the same. It never changes.
Agreed to Donald's comment, though. Night Court is probably one of my, like, when I was a kid and I watched Night Court, I felt like I could just incorporate right into that show as a character if I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to deal with everything.
That's all right, Colton. You do you, bro.
And I believe the actor, the main actor in that had he actually had, I think, something like if you actually accidentally scared him, or if you intentionally scared him, you could potentially kill him. The lead actor from Night Court.
Yeah.
So like the set and everything.
I'm willing to believe it. That totally sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating thing. I had never noticed this until Donald just said it, but one of the reasons why I'm so entomophobic and afraid of bugs is the speed that they move at. Not only do they look creepy, but they move at an unnatural speed. Like, for some reason, I wasn't bothered by the Japanese attack beetles that they had, which were, you know, huge. They were massive beetles, but they were just so slow. They just kind of, you know, they wouldn't sneak up on you. Not like a cicada or a roach or any of those things that you'd find all around. And now that Donald said something about this, he's like, noise can give anxiety. Sudden moves can trigger vertigo or panic attacks. I never realized that there might be a connection between those two.
Yeah.
And I never thought of that. I just assumed they were two different phobias hanging out in two different locations. But it's the speed of which bugs move. If they, like, I can't take centipedes because it's all the little legs that are moving that it's like, oh, no, I can't deal with it. Oh,
Yeah,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. See,
fascinating
now
sounds.
that I can get into. The mechanics are cool. As long as we don't
Yeah.
fire it, I'm right with you, my friend. I'm right there.
Yeah, like I kind of am right there with you. Like I used to watch my dad clean his gun when I was really young. So like I would just sit there and like look at the table, and he would like lay everything out very precisely on how he actually took it apart and then put it back together. My father was a cop when I was very young as well, so like he had to clean his gun on a regular.
You better. I'm just saying.
He yeah, but like I mean, I don't know. Like I was taught gun safety in a very weird way too because of that. So yeah, I was actually given a loaded gun that was locked, and then I was given an unloaded gun that was locked. I could not pull the trigger at both times, but I was told like I needed to know the weight of when it was loaded and when it was empty. So there you go.
Well, we're Southerners. I mean, my dad derived certain amount of great pleasure and had given me a 30-30 and telling me to shoot it. He thought that was hysterical because, of course, naturally, it kicked and nearly killed me. That was funny. Okay.
The first gun that I actually had to shoot was a shotgun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, dads.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. All right.
Yeah.
We've got her squared away now. Looking good. Now we need to put in her eyes and all of the other parts that go on. She only has a right eye for this animation, obviously. She only has a right eyebrow for this animation, so this is going to be relatively easy.
Unless they change the angle on you.
Nope. They're not changing it now. We're dedicated. We're committed. Change that angle on me when I shoot somebody. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and just for the sake of not having confusion here, we're going to delete that. And we're going to delete the left eye too, because there's no point in that. We don't need to worry about the nose, but we do have to worry about the mouth. And we're going to end up with all of these phenomes. This is where things are going to get ugly. So we'll do those in a second. Now, right? It's the imagination.
Yeah.
So, in general, I don't watch horror, mostly because they invariably are going to do some kind of jump scare, and I'm just not willing to fight with that. So, we'll do.
So with horror, I mean, I don't know. I'm weird. I guess. I don't like American horror. I like Japanese horror flicks more than American horror flicks. I watch Ringu over the Ring type deal.
You want to talk about a horror flick? Man. There is a show that I've been watching recently called Alice in Borderland.
Uh-huh.
And that is a horror flick.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
I've heard of
and it's horror
adaptations of Alice
in a way
in
that
Wonderland.
actually I really appreciate. Yeah, 36, right? And that is exactly what my dad's 30-30 did. Knocked me back probably half a meter, maybe a meter. I wasn't very big. I was a little guy. I was 13, I want to say. Yeah, 13.
He didn't have you shoot a gun until you were 13?
No, he didn't have me shoot the 30-30 until I was 13.
Okay.
It's a 30-30. It left a bruise this big across my chest because he told me, and he said, put it up against your shoulder. And so I went, and he's like, no, put it up against your shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Put it up against your shoulder. And he was like, okay, fine. You'll learn the hard way. You know, bam! And it smacked my shoulder and knocked me clean over. Just ridiculous. And it was loud and it was noisy. It was not any fun. So.
Yeah, my mom ruined my dad's hunting trip at one point because she kept basically scaring the deer.
Right.
Because she thought the deer were majestic.
Deer.
Yeah. It also didn't help, like, when my dad did go hunting, like, he decided to sit there and thought it was a good idea to let us know where venison came from during the time when I was going through my Bambi phase.
Oof, that's not good.
Yeah. Oh. So you can imagine when we've watched Bambi like a bajillion times and he goes, so we're eating Bambi's mom.
Well, that explains how that story went down.
Yeah.
What happened to Bambi's mom? We're eating her. Oh. Well, there's that.
Oh no, we refused to eat. We refused to eat after that.
I get it.
Yeah, my mom was not happy.
I think that's a... Oh, nice. And Duck Hunt. I loved Duck Hunt. What a great game. Stupid dog.
I always try to shoot the dog.
I know, right? Yeah, I think everybody tries to shoot the dog.
Yeah, I was more into, I want to kill the dog. The dog makes a more annoying noise.
That was annoying.
Yeah.
You can't blame somebody for that. Yeah, but Donald, it's a Southern thing. I learned to shoot pistol when I was 10. And then I learned to shoot rifle when I was 13 or 14. And then that was it. I never went back. I think the last time I picked up a projectile weapon of that, I guess a noisy projectile weapon, was when I was 15 or so. And I have no interest in going back. I shoot rather well. I know I'm a good shot, at least from that point of view. I was a good shot back then. I guess I probably am still a relatively decent shot now. But I picked up the bow, and I've been shooting bow and arrow forever, and it's a much, much better weapon. Much more elegant, makes less noise.
Yeah, my family,
lot less noise.
In my family, I think my brother and my father got into the bow together. I got into the bow, American style bow, when I was in Boy Scouts, and less noise.
Yep.
A lot less noise. It's better. Like if you have an auditory thing, it's the bow. If you learn on the bow, it feels more freeing because you don't have to worry about the noise.
Exactly. And I am a second-degree black belt in Japanese archery, which is called Kyudo. And it is a very specialized martial art. And so that's one of the things that I got into when I was in Japan. I got really into Kyudo. And that's way awesome in my book, I guess. But I guess that makes some sense. I mean, I had gotten into Kyudo here with my kendo teacher. So one thing real quickly, when we're talking about animation, eyes don't close all the way down. They don't go blink down and up. The bottom part of the eye comes up to meet. So it's important when you're drawing. And she has these arches in her eyes, but still, I want to make sure that I don't follow. I want to start here and go like this and come forward. But her eyes are not going to be totally, what am I looking for here? They're not going to be totally closed. So, and then I'm adding to the cell here. That's what this is. I'm adding to the cell by putting in the background colors here. And
Yeah, that's why they took lawn darts out of the market, and when they re-released them, they no longer have points at the end. Donald.
Yep.
Yeah. In my neighborhood, it was there was people. There was people. My southern.
Your southern's showing.
Yeah, I know. There were groups of people that would every New Year's, every Christmas, any celebration, they would shoot guns in the air.
Yep.
About 2 years after they started doing it in my neighborhood, they realized maybe we should start shooting blanks.
Because the bullets were coming back down?
The bullets came back down and killed one of the kids.
Yep. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Okay. Now she can blink. And now the animation's starting. Not, a whole lot. Lucky that they got narrow in the foot and not narrow in the head, though. That's all I gotta say. So the Japanese longbow is one of the, like everything Japan does, it is one of the more dramatic weapons. And it is, I need you. There we go. It is definitely how are we going to fix this problem? Hang on. I just suddenly realized I just made a mess of things here. Maybe it's on the body line? It might be on the body line. Anyway, the Japanese longbow is one of those things where, just like the katana, turn off the people real quick. She looks like a ghost. Just like the katana, the longbow is remarkably deadly. And it is one of the most deadly longbows. It has like all of those mythical stories that you always hear about Japanese archers. My sensei used to talk about that all the time. There apparently is a story about an archer who the Mongols were coming in to attack, or it was another raid from another clan or something. But he stood on a cliff overlooking the harbor, and he would take his bow, and he had two types of arrows that he used. One had a crescent head, which was sharpened,
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one he had were fire arrows. And he'd wait till the ship got into the center of the harbor. Yep. He'd gotten to the center of the harbor, and then he'd fire those arrows, the crescent arrows, and that cut all the guy lines on the sails. So it becalmed the boats. They couldn't go anywhere. And then he'd just light fire arrows and sink the boats by setting them ablaze. And because samurai would not get out of their armor, it was dishonorable. The samurai would end up drowning in the harbor. And so he ended up saving his entire clan. So that was amazing in and of itself. Yeah. So that's
I feel like it's a very Japanese story too. That's like about the longbow. Like and
it's kind of like, I'm not sure whether I believe my sensei or not on that one. I mean, I don't disbelieve it. I've seen those crescent arrows, so I know that we had them. And by we, I mean the Japanese archers, because I consider myself part of the Japanese archer clans. I know we had them, but I don't know if you could literally becalm a vessel in the harbor.
Well, right. You also have to remember, a lot of archers, like they look up weather reports. They see if their arrow will fly. So what you're talking about doesn't sound abnormal for me.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound that. I mean, yeah, of course we practiced all the time in different weather conditions.
Yeah.
For that very reason. Ghostblade's talking about what the Japanese call yubesame, which is horseback archery. Now, horseback
That's actually
archery,
kind of fun. I never got into it because I didn't have a horse at the time, but there's a style of archery on horseback from Europe as well. Granted, this is all short bow stuff, so this is not going to be like Japanese longbow.
No, our longbows were nasty.
Yeah. But also at the same time, like my family, if they were on horseback, they probably would have had their automatic bows, known as crossbows.
Yep.
So, I mean, pick your poison with that one.
Yeah. So Japanese took the Mongolian bow and extended it. And they took all of the Mongolian skills and extended those as well. Why am I doing this to myself? All right, we need to fix you now. There we go. So they took the Mongolian style, like the yubesame, and they stole all of that effectively. But it is cool because
Did they steal it, or did they go, this is working for another country that's always invading us. How about we study it and make it our own?
Well, okay, so that's really what happened. And I guess I should be nice to Japan and I mean, like, not make it sound like they thieve things, because they actually didn't.
Yeah.
I'm humored because Japan did effectively steal Chinese a number of times, which has given it a complicated language base. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't mean to belittle Japan. It's completely accidental there.
I mean, looking into Japan's history, like they were invaded a lot, so they kind of took a how are they like coming at us? All right, let's use those same techniques. Let's see if the bullies will respond to their same type of treatment of us. And
Right.
that's what they did. I mean, it was
Like I said, I shouldn't be ragging on them too much, because you're absolutely right. They were doing their thing, survival. As now check it. Okay, why am I getting a blink up there? Dang it. There shouldn't even be things up there. There we go. We don't want it to be too like dramatic when she blinks. But on the same token, you don't want her pupil to show up here when she's blinking, or show through like it's showing through right there. But we want to be able to take her pupil and move it up so she's looking up, or move it down so she's looking down. So we want to be able to move it across here. So we need to be able to, or this is looking to this side or looking to this side. So we need to be able to cover the pupil with the blink, with the eyeball structure here. So that's what we're going to do next. Get onto the eyeball. And make sure this is cleared through this zone. And of course, when I pick on Japan, I'm picking on him with love, obviously. Yep, well, all of those nations have had no fun. There's been a lot of no bueno going on over there for history. You're right. So we want to make sure that that's a horror flick. Okay, make sure that the blink covers everything as well. So we'll go through here. I can just cover that up and make sure that's covered too. Make sure I didn't extend it too much. And I did. I totally did. I blew it. Go back through here. So one of the reasons we have to do all of this extra work is because if you have something that's out of place, like as an example, right here, if you look at that, when she blinks, you actually can see that dot like appear and disappear, and it's distracting. So we're going to have to go up there and kill that dot. This is what we're going to do. There we go. Because that way it's not distracting. There we go. Now her pupil moves. We can look up. She can look up at her husband, look down at the papers, which is what we're after. All right. And I see a small amount of pupil showing up above her eyeliner. So, and here's the thing about how humans move their eyes. They blink. So we're going to have to go through every time her eye moves. The pupil will first have to have a blink, then it'll move up, and then the eye will open. And that's how the animation will work, because it has to. That's just the nature of how we do things. We can have our eyes down like this, but as soon as we look up like this, then our eyes can stay whenever they move. But, like follow a target. We can follow a target. But when we're looking down, we tend to blink and then look up, and then our eyes can stay on target. So we've got to make sure we go through that cycle of animation. Kill dot.
Psycho of animation? What?
Psycho of animation. I said it. I'm not going back on it, man. It's a psycho animation. It's like Psycho Killer. Take kiss, kiss, say. Da, 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 da. Okay. Take the pupil. I'm still seeing through here. It's probably okay. Probably okay. Maybe. Just in case. There will be an extension to here. That's like the most we want to get. There we go. So there we go. Now she can look straight down, and that works. And she can look up when she looks at her husband, like, I hate you. Down, up.
It's a very dark animation for.
Oh my god.
It's a very weird animation. Looking up at her husband in anger.
Right.
For real estate.
Right. Well, that's why we animated her eyebrows. See.
Yeah.
What? You know. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Anyway. Now we're going to go through the phanomes, guys. Phanomes. Phano more. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. What about phthalo blue? Phthalo green?
Oh, yeah. Phthalo blue. Phthalo blue. Phthalo blue. Phthalo more. Wait. Phthalo blue is so awesome. All right. So this is an anime style. I always do. Even when I'm doing comic style, I do an anime style. And in anime style, one of the weird little tricks that they do when they're doing a side view is they have just the mouth sitting out here that moves. Like their lips never move. Their jaw never moves up and down. They just have a bunch of like things that are, it's like they're talking on the side of their mouth. So we're going to do exactly that. For a neutral, and we're going to turn on, because there actually is, we've got a guide here. This is where her mouth is supposed to be, but I'm moving it up. That is like sort of sad or annoyed. I don't even know how to put it, but that's all right. So down here, we're going to do neutral like this. Right? That's her at neutral. At smile. Right? And we can turn off the neutral and you can see she looks like she's smiling now.
Very uncomfortably because of the eyebrow. Like you had the same eyebrow movement.
Right, so it's hard to tell she's smiling because she should lower her eyebrow.
Well, when you have your lower eyebrow lower and you put a smile on someone, it makes them look like they're very uncomfortable in a situation. So I'll be back as fast as possible. If not, there's like not a lot left of the show.
So it's funny you would mention that, my dear friend Donald, because the bad lip syncing film you're talking about, this particular program we're going to be using, Character Animator, allows us to actually sync. So we can synchronize. It understands. It understands the different phonemes. So once we record the audio, it knows which one is which and will assign the correct one of these mouths to it. Now D, and E look a lot alike. So I'm going to leave E up just long enough for me to guide along like this. There we go. F, on the other hand, is so that's here, very much here, right up in the front. I really need to do something with these eyes that are stuck here on this, because I don't know which one that is. That's my eyeball. I don't even know why it's got stuff down here. It doesn't need it. Getting in the way of the koozie here. Is it totally, as soon as oh, that'd be nice, thanks, appreciate that, my friend. We're a laid back group, but yes, when you do animation like we're doing here, it understands the phonemes, and so it will, as it analyzes the audio coming through, all has hung up. We don't need to worry that much about this for the anime effect. So what I will do instead is just go through here with the crow quill and do that, which kind of implies a because we're not going to see the tongue. Her mouth is way too small. There. All. Like so. Put this all forward. Like so. Right? So I look back on that. Sound like a snake. Heavy dial. Is down. Ooh. This is very, very forward. So we'll just leave there. Just like that. There we go. Now we've given her all of her phonemes, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Save. Ow. Yep. There is metahumans. I would recommend looking up metahumans. Unreal metahumans. The Unreal Engine, the newest Unreal Engine, they finally got their algorithm straightened out. So it actually, they've got the saccade, which is what we call when your eyes kind of look back and forth like this. This is called saccade. And they've got that going really well on these models. And one of the problems that I have a lot of times with animation is that the movement of the lips in a 3D character, it needs to press together, and it doesn't. So the 3D characters start to talk like this, and it looks a little unreal because they're not pressing together enough. And it's like you can feel that. You can feel like it's not working. And that's the one thing I was noticing when I looked at Unreal's metahumans was they've got that really good. Right. Ooh, that's so true. That's what scared me more than anything. My brain was willing to just totally accept that those were people. There was no uncanny valley. I just sat there and went, ah. And I think I'm totally with you, Ghost Hand. I am 100% with you. Oh, that was scary. Man. Okay, we are rigged now for everything but her right arm, which is going to be an IK unit. And that means that we're going to be using it for inverse kinetics. So we don't need a body layer. We need this to be called body, right? And then we delete this layer. Work. And then this becomes, this is not that one. It's not this one. This is the one we delete. This is the one we delete. And this becomes the face or head, right? Here are all of our phonemes. They're ready in the mouth, so that's good. We've set up her eye. The eye works perfectly. The eyebrow works. These are all done in chains. So when you have the chains of operation going on, then, oh, and by the way, the Unreal thing, there are already a couple of sandbox games that are working on that, on using that newest Unreal technology along with their new metahuman technology. It's kind of sad because they're both kind of adult games. The whole idea is to do VR adult virtual sex with these creatures or whatever. But I'm looking at it going, God, this could be instant animation. I could just roll out immediate instant animation. It'd be so cool. So I'm actually really into the idea of using that for making animation. That'd be just neat. Yeah. You know, if it's virtual characters, I don't know if I'm that bothered. I mean, the we're getting closer and closer to a single animator like me being able to generate an entire story live, pretty much real time, and that is intriguing to me. That's something I'm really interested in. Being able to generate real-time characters would be. See you later, Colton.
Bye.
So that's something that I like the fact that I don't know, Ghost Hand. I think more than anything, the being able to do, what are those fakes? The there's a word for it, but where they use AI to change the face of people. Because I'm already starting to see deep fakes. That's it, deep fakes. I've got a pretty hardcore computer right here. That's what it's designed for. Is that it's designed to push animation. So I've already got processor. I've already got memory. And I've got a GPU that's water cooled. So I'm waiting to see where that generation is. There's a company that's already putting out something called Cyber Romance, which I assume just by the name of it, I can tell exactly what it's after. But they've been talking about integrating metahumans into it using Daz Studios 8.1 characters, which are really high detail and very, very good. And that sounds like something I'd be really intrigued to see what we could do with. All right, we need to put in the hand, the arm. This is a secondary animation part that we're going to need to put in. No, I'm erasing things that I shouldn't be erasing. Don't do that. So we're going to clear this here to here. Clear this up right through here, like so. And this is going to end up being in 3 pieces. We'll be able to move it. So, cork, it will match. And then we'll just go through here and just do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, Ghost Hand, that are waiting for that market to crash. So,
right? I mean, that's ridiculous. It's becoming stupid.
well, I just got done with contract negotiations last week, and one of the things that was brought up was NFTs, which are artist version of cryptocurrency.
Yep.
And
I'm not sure where I stand on that.
Let's just say we have an opt-out now. Like, we're allowed to opt our what we out. Like, we don't have to have they don't have to be turned into NFTs if the creator of the character for the game
Nice
can do that. So I'm kind of happy with that result because I was very uncomfortable with that one.
Yeah, I having been an artist all of my life and starving pretty much all the time, I kind of appreciate the concept of NFT, but the amount of power that it uses.
Well, the thing is the same amount of power that it uses is the same amount of power for the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm up for cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
On the same. I mean, just the same.
Yeah, I
concept
understand.
Thought process.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't like NFTs," but they're okay with cryptocurrencies. But they're on the same power network. They're on the same thing. So if you're not going to be for NFTs, but you're for cryptocurrencies, you're pretty much for them both. It doesn't matter. So you have to really know where your cryptocurrencies are coming from if you don't like NFTs. And that's
Exactly.
kind of a harder thing to do.
Well, and this is definitely something. If you're with us tomorrow, Ghost Hand, let's talk about that because I fully agree. But we are at 11:02, and it's now pushing 3:00 for you, or it's just after 3:00 for you. So and Donald and Pepper and I need to move on. Although I am going to just continue doing this after lunch because this is due tomorrow, and I got to do all of this stuff. So we still got to get there.
Mine's due Wednesday afternoon, and
Mine's
I still
tomorrow.
have to ink and paint.
Yep. Luckily, I'm moving along at a pretty good pace now. I got the rigs set up in Character Animator, and sadly, I can't show you guys Character Animator right now because Character Animator is cool in that it uses the camera to see my eyes and my eyebrows and my mouth, and it will make the puppet mimic me. So if I raise my eyebrows, it'll raise the puppet's eyebrows. If I close my eyes, it'll close the puppet's eyes. So, but that also means that as long as OBS has command of my camera, Character Animator can't use it, and it actually like locks up. It doesn't lock up, but it doesn't let me do all the pieces. So I can't rig the puppet, which is a bummer and irritates me. Blessings to you, my friend, as well. It's good to see you, Donald.
Bye, Donald.
I hope you'll be here tomorrow too. Always a
Blessings
good
in
thing.
return.
And
Hey,
then
this angle, my feet don't look flat. Yay.
What?
I have like almost flat feet when I'm walking, but now I'm like looking at it and it looks like I have an actual arch. It's funny.
Yeah, behind you, Pepper. Something is trying to attack you.
I mean, if that does happen and I'm in this position, this is my patio. People have to jump down.
Yep.
And just know I do have weapons in my house.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Very close to the store.
You know. See you later, Ghost Hand. I'll see you tomorrow. If you show up, that'd be awesome. We can talk about currency. And like capitalism, because we should discuss how everything went down in Bellatrix Rising when I world built that. So he thought it was a pet. You know, sometimes it could be George. Oh, all my lights have changed, so we are over our time. Thanks, Pepper, for joining me. I will see you tomorrow, my friend, if you want to join me. Just test that by joining the stream.
I probably will.
Yeah. Bye, Donald. Bye, Ghost Hand. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Computer, good night.